question. My question to herbalists in general is, now that we have so many people getting into herbalism, how do we keep plants mostly for other species survival and not for human consumption? Overharvesting is happening at a rapid rate, and to be honest, I don't put up a lot of tinctures or salves because I can't justify my needs over pollinators. I propagate as many plants as possible, and still I can't bring myself to harvest St. John's wort. This is important. There's a whole bunch of different things to think about. Some of the things you could think about would be, I said this earlier, but it's not enough to just know that a certain plant is not threatened or endangered, or that it's not on the United Plant Savers at-risk or to-watch list. We need to know their status in our ecosystems where they live. We need to know like what plants are common, what plants aren't, and the best practices to harvest them in all situations, if harvest is appropriate. And so this requires learning some like bioregional naturalism in addition to just your herbalism. Also said earlier, sustainable and ethical harvesting needs to be a forethought and not an afterthought. And that means we need to apply sustainable harvesting practices to all the herbs we harvest, and not just to the ones that are on at-risk and to-watch list. If a plant is actually listed as threatened or endangered, you shouldn't be picking it at all. We can't wait until something is in trouble before we start thinking about sustainability. We need to focus a lot on weedy, non-native, and invasive species. We have to both harvest and plant stuff. And we should always remember that it is extremely powerful to support small herbalist-run herb farms, right? So sometimes I hear people say things like, oh, that plant is sensitive or it's not ethical to harvest, we shouldn't use it anymore. And I think like, oh, we should still use it, but we should use it if we're getting it from sustainable places like small herb farms. You know, let's use Golden Seal as an example. There are herbalists that run small herb farms growing Golden Seal. And when we purchased Golden Seal from them, we encourage them to keep growing Golden Seal. And a lot of those people don't just grow Golden Seal or what other plants they grow to sell for people to make tinctures and oils and salves and teas with. They're also selling them as plants that people can plant out. And so by supporting them, we're encouraging planting more of those species. And as I said earlier, we can always buy more than we need, especially of like fresh roots in the fall, and then take those root cuttings and plant them out to assist us in cultivating the plants that we use.